And I think the first thing I think of when I think of her is as a winner. She's won at every level, whether it be, UConn, high school, USA basketball, 3-on-3, all of those. And so we just felt like we were drafting somebody who can play at both ends of the court. She's able to create shots for herself, for others, and she also knows how to play off the basketball. And then she's gonna get tested right away, guarding all 3 perimeter spots on our team with the players that we have. And so I think she fits the kind of player we want, a winner, unselfish, knows how to score, but knows, kind of when to score too. But I think we'll probably be yelling at her to shoot a little bit more sometimes. She might not be used to that sometimes, but we'll be yelling at her to shoot a little bit more. But I'm going to open it up to questions from you guys for her first.
We're going to go in person first. Kareem Copeland, Washington Post.
We just shot him. No,
go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Kristen? Kareem Copeland, Washington Post. Can you hear me?
Kristen, can you hear Kareem? We'll give him the mic. Hang on one second.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Kristen? Kareem Copeland, Washington Post. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Sorry. I just wanted to ask, you've been under as big of a spotlight as any program in the country. What did you take from that whole experience?
It's part of the game. Just being in that spotlight. And obviously just playing at UConn, we're one of the basketball capitals of the world. So I'm pretty used to playing in that spotlight. It has its perks and it has its, downfalls, but I'm pretty used to it.
Hey, Kristen, Jen Hadfield with The Next. Congratulations. Just curious, you said you were in Little Rock. Can you tell us a little bit about what your draft night's been like and just your reaction to joining the Mystics?
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience. Just being able to experience this with my family and friends. I'm actually at a venue right now with a lot of my family and friends, and we had a TV set up and everything, and it was just a dream come true to hear my name being called. So I'm super excited for the opportunity.
Hey, Kirsten, Tyler Byram from NBC Sports Washington. Congratulations. What are your initial thoughts on being drafted to Washington? Obviously, they're in a different situation, some other teams in the draft, but coming to a team that's ready to compete, what are your initial thoughts?
I was super excited. I had just had a conversation with them the other day, so I know what he expects from me. And I told him he reminds me a lot of Coach, so it should be a great thing. I'm super
excited. Part or which,
I'm just excited for the opportunity. So I'm just super grateful and just showing a lot of gratitude.
Hi, Kristen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Kristen, this is Candy Walrus, Seawall Sports, Bowie Television. Congratulations. You know that this area where we call in DC the District of Champions here. So just want to know, what are you looking forward to bringing to the team in terms of your skill sets and capabilities?
Like Coach said, I can play on both ends of the floor. And obviously I'm ready to fill whatever role that I need to, and whatever the team needs, in order for us to win. But I take pride in my defense, and I can score the ball if I need to. And like he said, I'm used to, playing without the ball in my hands. So I think that's something that's unique about my game.
Hey, Christian, it's Phil Jones.
You can't hear that mic. That mic isn't working.
It's not working.
No. Just take this one.
Oh, you might need to come up here. Got it. I'll fix that.
Hey, Christian, congratulations on getting drafted. Phil Jones from Newsticks Media. You're going to bring that kill everybody on the court mentality that you had at UConn?
Absolutely. That's what got me here. So I'm going to stick with it.
Excellent.
Okay, turning it over to Zoom.
All right, Kristen, at this point, we're going to take some questions from Zoom. So if you have a question, just raise your hand on Zoom and we'll do our best to get to you. We'll start with Dom.
Hi, Kristen. It's Dom Amori from the Hartford Current. Sorry if you were asked this earlier, but can you just kind of talk me through what the process was tonight and particularly maybe compare it to how you imagined it or dreamed it in the past? Was it nerve-wracking? Was it exciting? What went through your mind as the picks went by and when you finally saw your name?
Well, what I dreamed of growing up was actually being in New York at the draft. But that's part of life. It's very unfortunate, but I've had a great experience in Little Rock, in front of my family and friends, just waiting to hear my name being called. And it was honestly a dream come true, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But I'm just super excited and grateful to, be a part of the league and just to get to work when I get to Washington.
Who's with you there?
On her shoulder about not getting invited to New York.
Wait, what did he say?
I said, I want you to have a chip on your shoulder about not getting invited to New York.
Oh, for sure. that killer mentality we just talked about. It's just part of the fuel.
Kristen, who's with you in Little Rock?
A lot of my family. I had like 60 people here. So all of my siblings were able to make it, and my parents, obviously, and then extended family and close family and friends. So a lot of people showed up.
All right, we'll go to John Shearer.
Hey, Kristen, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So you guys are talking a little bit about the chip on your shoulder. Will you use that as motivation? All these teams that passed up on you, all these teams, you not getting to go to New York, these teams passing up on you, use that as motivation, like Coach Tibbs said?
Absolutely. It's all motivation. And like you said, I will be playing with a chip on my shoulder. Sorry, there's a loud truck passing.
You're good. We can hear you.
It is all about motivation. Me not getting invited and all the teams passed up, that's blah, blah, blah. I know that, God has me in the right place and at the right time. And I believe, Washington is a great fit for me. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity that Coach has given me, and I'm just ready to get to work.
Carl Adamek.
Hi, Kristen. Carl Adamek at the Journal Inquirer. Congratulations. Have you been able to text or get in touch with Liv and Davina about their draft choices, and what were their reactions to you and to each other?
We have not been able to get into contact because life has been crazy after I got my name called, but I will definitely, get in communication with them. I'm super proud of them, super happy for them.
If I could follow up quickly, there is such a short turnaround between your college season and camp. How will you spend the next few weeks? Have you had enough rest to, get your body back to where it's going to need to be for training camp?
Yeah, I'm young. I'm ready to go.
Good answer.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll take our last question on Zoom from Christos.
Hello, Christine. Congratulations, first of all. That mix of veteran and young players at Mystics, how is it going to make your transition in this team in the training camp? And what are your expectations about your game and about your season with the Mystics?
I don't have any expectations. I just know I'm going to go in there, work my hardest, give my full effort, and do whatever coach tells me to do. Be a great teammate and control what I can control and just take advantage of the opportunity. So I'm just grateful. That's all.
Thank you very much.
All right, Kristen, that is it for now. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you again.
We'll talk soon.
All righty. See you soon, Coach.
Okay. Okay, now we will take in-person questions for Coach Thibault.
Already.
I can hear you anyway.
Hey, Mike, congratulations on the day. Beforehand, you'd said several times, you were comfortable with any of the top three tonight. What was it about Shakira that you felt comfortable with and that you put right along with the other two that went in the first two slots?
Well, as I just told the fans, and I don't, this is a little bit sarcastic, but maybe a lot of sarcasm, but when you read about who should be drafted or who shouldn't be drafted, and the experts say this and the experts say that, the reality to me is that the guys that are and women that are supposed to be the experts are the coaches and GMs. And so, we've all read, who the top two picks will be, and it's always been kind of narrowed and then kind of opened up. There should be three. And, the fact of the matter is for each team, it's what fits your needs, what fits your team, who you draft. When we interviewed all three, of those players, we were impressed. There are different things that you want to build for a team. And our biggest debate with the veteran roster we have is, are we strictly just picking somebody that fits this year's team, or is it somebody that fits the long term? And when you have an opportunity to draft a 6'6" post player who's athletic, can play both positions, can run all day, I think it's a rare thing. And I think I said it in the release. The rare thing is that when you have a young player at that position who buys into all the things at the defensive end, that's a good way to make your mark with the team right away. You have somebody that talks on defense, communicates, you can see her pointing and getting people through screens and all those things, and then can block shots and rebound and start the break. That in and of itself would be a great job description. But the fact that she is growing as an offensive player, she's gone from her, freshman and sophomore year in college to being a low block player to being somebody that, can be versatile on offense, can face up. Not a consistent three-point shooter yet, but we'll, continue to work on that like we do with all of our post players. And I think we're seeing a player in front of us that's only going to get better, that in the long run for this franchise gives us, a solid piece for a lot of years to come. Nobody knows with injuries, and, we have some older veteran post players on our team. It was time to get a younger one to go with them so that we can build going forward. And I think she fits that a lot.
So, Coach, do you feel like you got the value that you were looking for, trading essentially one pick for two picks? And, with the roster that you have and maybe not a ton of playing time for these two, how do you plan?
No question, we got what we wanted to do. That has been clearly defined to us tonight. There were days when we were going through this process. Like I said, I asked our staff, would you be okay with any of them at three? Well, we would be okay with any of them at one also. So this was not one of those situations where we traded down and took a lesser player. We had a player that's capable of being the first pick also. And so I think that's a starting point for us, is that we felt we got a player who was capable of being the first pick and then got an added bonus and got another player. With the salary cap the way it is and the way roster construction has to go, you have to be mindful of what your team's going to look like, not just in the year ahead, but in 3 years with salary cap issues. And so, when you can bring in a great young player on a rookie contract and bring in another one like Kristen on a rookie contract that can give you depth, that was a big consideration for us, let alone that we might get lucky next year and have a chance to swap in the draft. I don't know if that'll happen. Whether LA will be better or worse than us, we don't know, but it was a worthwhile thing to have as part of the deal. We were very impressed with Shakira in every instance, both watching her play in practice and in our interview with her, that we feel like we got as good a draft as we could get out of all of this.
Mike, you've talked about this before, whether it's through free agency or in the draft, the renewed focus on the defensive end and getting star defensive players and players that have a lot of skills on that side of the ball. Was that an emphasis and a focus in this draft class, or is that part of just who you look to identify as players?
It wasn't a focus to start out. We just felt we were fortunate that we found some players that could do that. I think that all three drafted at the top were capable defensive players. I think to us, Shakira stood out, partly because of her size and shot blocking. We weren't a team in the last year and a half that could control the paint defensively necessarily, but now we have a ton of great defensive players, particularly on the perimeter. You add Elizabeth Williams and her shot blocking ability. Elena's defensive length and shot blocking ability is a huge thing. And I think that we have, I think on the nights that, we're known as a really good offensive team, or were when we won the championship. And I think, we'd like to think we can get back to that part of it. But I think defensive teams can get you through the rough patches when you're not particularly shooting well, that you still give yourself an opportunity with, the kind of players. We didn't start out in this draft to necessarily do that, but it fits the mold of what we've been doing.
And then a quick follow-up. Did Shakira say anything in the interview that particularly stood out to you that really made you fall in love with her as a player?
I don't think there was one particular thing. I think a lot of it was that just she was very honest and candid about everything we asked her. We asked her everything from, and we asked this of all of them, but we asked about their family background and who they are and why they, what motivates them, what they want to do on and off the court. It was a natural question to ask her about, you switched schools, you did all these things. And we just felt that we were getting honest, from the hard answers from her. She's a very confident kid, but I also think she's a very realistic player. She knows that she's got things to work on. She is a fan of a couple of our players. And, I think she tries to watch how Elena plays and has modeled some of the things that she wants to do after that. So what better environment to come in and work in around players of that caliber? If you want to learn the game and grow, you can walk in the gym every day and see, the finished product in many ways right in front of you and aspire to that.
Was there any special significance? She's from the Virginia area, so was that like an added factor for you? Or?
No, we don't ever even consider that in the draft. You draft the player, I don't care where they're from. They could be from Mars. It doesn't matter to me. We want to get the player that is talented, but they fit with our group. They're unselfish, that they have a team concept first. And I felt that both players we drafted excel in those areas.
Question for you, Coach. If you add in the two rookies to your overall squad, what type of role can we expect to see from the two ladies this year?
I hope they can clap really well on the bench and cheer for those players that are starting ahead of them. And I'm not being completely facetious. If you look at our roster realistically, those players aren't going to come in and probably be in our top 8 or 9 players to start the year. It's on them to earn those minutes, to take some minutes from the starters, and be prepared when their turn comes. We might rest an Elena Della down one game, or somebody gets hurt. Be ready to go, and then use every opportunity you have from day one when you get here to prove that you belong. We always tell our players, particularly young ones, you never know when your big moment comes, but you better be prepared for it. If you don't do the work, you don't put in the work, then you won't be ready. And I think, we saw that Maisha Hines-Allen the rookie year. Elena gets hurt and Maisha's playing big minutes in the playoffs, and she had done the work to be ready. And I think that's that has to be a big focal point for them coming in.
Lastly, Coach, as a coach and GM, can you just talk about that dynamic of having that and how the draft in a way kind of fell to your liking?
Well, it was easy in the sense that we knew when we made the trade what we were going to get at the 3rd pick. I mean, we were going to get a good player regardless of who it was, but we were pretty sure it was going to be Shakira based on what we knew the other 2 teams were going to do or likely to do. We had a list of about 4 or 5 players that we interviewed that we felt fit the profile when we got to that pick at 14. And luckily, a couple of those players were there. And, our ranking, actually the rankings kind of went how we thought. And so when Vegas was picking with the 13 pick, we were all like crossing our fingers and toes and everything else and hoping that Kristen was still going to be there. And luckily she was.
Sandra, turning it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Katsia. All right, Coach, we'll do the Zoom portion of this now. We'll start with DA.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, David.
Hey, just wondering how Shakira's game kind of evolved in her time at Ole Miss from when she was at Maryland. I'm sure you saw her a couple of times, at least at Maryland. And is she a different player? What is she improved on when she was while she was down there?
Yeah, I mean, she is a different player. The first thing about it was she went to a program that was not a great program at the time that she went. And so a lot of weight was placed on her shoulders to carry the program to kind of a new heights type thing. And so I think the first thing she learned was there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that. She learned that you have to carry yourself a different way. That you have teammates looking up to you instead of, when she was at Maryland, she was a rookie freshman that, a lot of good players around her. She didn't have as big a focus on her every day. It was kind of spread out a little bit amongst the team. But going to Ole Miss, she was the target of every scouting report. She had to learn how to handle double and triple teams every night on the offensive end. I think her game has grown in that she's become more of a face-up player. She's learned how to play facing the basket. I think the other part of it is that she has become a high level for the college game defensive player. And I don't know, I think she had part of that as her game at Maryland, but I think, she had more responsibility. And so you either live up to the responsibility or you don't. And she has a motor that allowed her to do that.
Thank you.
We'll go to Dom Amore. Dom, you're muted.
Yep. Hi, Mike. I wanted to ask you about Kristen, but I also want to ask you about Carly landing the Fairfield job. I imagine you're a proud dad today.
I am.
But first, with Kristen, what did you learn about her? What did you find in scouting, talking to her that you felt made her a fit for you? And would she be justified in having a chip on her shoulder and not being invited to New York?
I mean, the chip on the shoulder, I kind of kidded her about it. I think, that's another thing that she can use. We were a little surprised when she wasn't invited, but, as it turns out, I mean, she came to the 14th pick and, you as a league, you're not going to get it right on who you invite to the draft or not. I know they take input from the various teams. Some of us tell the truth. Some of us don't. I don't all the time. I don't want everybody to know who I like. But at the time the invitations were made, we weren't even a part of that, draft process. I mean, we were going to be done at the third pick or the first pick at that time. I think that, she can use that. I think any player, it's natural to remember, what people passed you by. But you also can be grateful for the ones that love you too. And I think that, when she walks in the door this weekend to get ready for training camp for us, she's going to be excited and happy to be with us. I mean, for her, what we liked, I mean, I've kind of said it in a few different ways, but, here's somebody that knows how to play on the offensive end with and without the basketball. As a guard, if you can learn to run pick and rolls and, create one-on-one opportunities for yourself and also find teammates, or off the ball, learn to come off screens to get open for shots, make the right reads. Those are all things that she's kept getting better at. In the women's game, you see a lot of system players, and she's one that can play in a system like Connecticut's, but she can also go, the shot clock's running down. She can go find a way to create a shot to make sure you get a good shot. And then at the defensive end, the fact that she can guard point guards, two guards and small forwards, I think, because she's, close to 5'11", she'll have some success being able to defend multiple positions. And that was, important to us. And then we like having players just in general at every position that can handle the basketball. I mean, we let Elena and Maisha handle the basketball, but have a wing player that's comfortable with the ball in her hands, that knows how to pass, is unselfish. That's just a bonus for us right now.
Hey, can you just speak to Carly getting the job and what kind of conversations you've had with her today?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the conversations probably over the last week through this process. She really liked it at the University of Minnesota. Being the associate head coach, she and Lindsay Whalen are very close. As everybody knows, Lindsay and I are close. I think they were good for each other at Minnesota. She was sad to leave a great recruiting class coming in, but to get the opportunity at age 30 to be a head coach at the Division I level in a good program at a great university in an area that she knows, you couldn't ask for a lot better for a first-time head coaching job. I mean, she's, like my son is too. I mean, they've been around the game, they've grown up in it, and so they've seen how different situations get handled, not just by me, but by the coaches they've been around. Carly's worked in some terrific programs for different coaches, and from Florida State to Eastern Michigan to Mississippi State and then Minnesota, she's seen things done different ways. So I think she's well prepared for not just the X's and O's part. Sometimes that almost becomes the easier part. It's the psychology of, teaching young ladies how to not only play the game, but to be adults. You're growing up, you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old young women who are, trying to find their way through college and their life and what they want to do and manage all that along with basketball. I think she excels at that area. I think that's, what's been attractive to her to, several universities that have inquired about her is that, here's somebody who's very mature at a young age. She's always been that way. She's driven, as a player, wasn't going to leave anything, undone out on the court. And so I think, that's the way she's approached coaching, that you're always going to get her best effort every single day. I think she's ready for that now.
Thank you, Mike.
I will go to John Shearer.
Hey, Coach, how you doing tonight?
Great, thanks. It's a great night.
Fantastic draft, by the way. So what attracted you to drafting Shakira? Was it the blocks and the rebounds, the defensive aspect? Because I know you love the defensive aspect. So is that what drew you to her? Thank you.
This is like a test. It's like can I mark all of the above? I mean, you like all of it when you're trying to draft that high in the draft. Sometimes when you're in the middle of the draft, you're saying, okay, what particular skill does somebody bring? Are they a great three-point shooter? Are they a great defender? When you're drafting in the top 4 or 5, you're hoping that you get somebody that's great at a multitude of things. And so I think, when you walk in the gym and you watch a player start playing, there are just certain things that attract you, kind of that it factor. One of her assistant coaches is Arminty Harrington, who played for us here and played, for a long time in the WNBA. And I was talking to her about Shakira, and she said the first time that she saw Shakira, she was actually coaching against her when Shakira was at Maryland, and she walked in the gym. They were in the same tournament. I don't know if they were playing each other, but they walked in the gym. She was, oh my goodness, there's a pro. And that was when Shakira was a freshman. And I think that's just one of those, you have an it factor, a presence about you, how she handles, day-to-day things. She's grown up handling, media situations, all the things that come with being a star player. I think that she's grown in her confidence. And I think it's not just a defensive thing. It's not just an offensive thing. You just see a total package that excites you about somebody.
Thank you, sir.
We'll go to Christos.
Hello, Coach. Hope you're doing well, first of all. Those draft picks of the night for you, how confident makes you that this team can be way better and have the depth that you want about the league?
Well, I think the first thing that gives me confidence is looking out my window and watching Elena and Alicia Clark work out, because now I know that those other ones we're drafting are going to be their backups and not out there starting right off the bat. I think, the depth is a big thing, and teams have to survive injuries. They have to survive, teams had to survive COVID the last 2 years. And, we didn't. In the bubble, we were short 4 players, and last year Elena didn't play, basically. Alicia didn't play. Maisha missed half the season. And so I think now that you add two players like this to our bench, you see some depth with skill to our team. And I think that's, when you finish a draft like this, sometimes you're just drafting a particular player to plug a hole somewhere. But I think in this one, we're plugging in two players that can be, big parts of what we do. Maybe not as much this year necessarily. It would be nice, but, we think that they'll do that as we go forward.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, Coach, and we'll take one last question from Nathan Snell.
Good evening, Coach T. Last season, in an exit interview, you said not rebuild, but reset. What does this draft, going into the season, are we still in a reset mode for the Mystics going forward?
We're in a compete for a championship mode. We reset in the following manner. I mean, you have the draft picks, you have the free agent signings of Elizabeth Williams and Rui Machida and Tiana Hawkins. You get healthy players that are all-stars back. And I think part of it was reset our culture. We had some things to figure out. We got Maisha re-signed. I thought we lost a little bit of the edge that we had in 2019 over the last year and a half, partly because people weren't there, partly because we had just kind of a different set of personalities. You go on the road and you expect kind of team bonding and things, but one of the best team bonders on our team, or the two best maybe on our team, are Elena and Alicia, and they aren't with you. And so not just are you missing them on the court, but you're missing them off the court. And so I think, that is back in our locker room right now. 5 minutes after the draft pick tonight, both Elena and Natasha were texting me, asking me for Shakira's phone number so they could reach out to her tonight, not tomorrow, not the next day, but tonight to welcome her to our team. And that's kind of the atmosphere you want. Same thing when they found out about Kristen, they're asking for her number. So there's a welcome committee waiting for them that starts everything off on the right foot.
Thank you, Coach T. Congratulations on the great draft.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that is all for tonight. Thank you so much for your time.
Anybody else?
Get a couple questions?
Sure. Why not? Get it all done now.
We'll allow it.
Well, kind of expanding on that kind of took us right towards there. What is the message as you walk into those doors next week with folks available that you have not had fully available for a long time? And again, like you said, not coming in as a team trying to, quite frankly, get their stuff together. You're coming in as a team looking at a title or chasing a title.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple parts to it. It's funny. We have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with our entire staff, coaches, player development, trainers, strength coach, to map out. We've kind of set we have an off-season kind of coaches retreat that we, kind of map out things we want to do. We talk about the draft. But now the second part of it is we will map out a little bit more in detail what training camp looks like. And so there's a couple facets to that. The one is to make sure we go at a pace that we don't go too fast for some of the people that have been hurt. And so that we incorporate that we have practices that take into account that, but we still get our scrimmage work in and things like that done. I think the talk to the players is, when we have our team dinner to start camp is, here's your opportunity to reset who you are. Name your own identity as a team. Look around the room and see the various weapons we have at both ends of the court. And let's make sure that we use all of them properly. The normal things that we talk about, that we don't really have to talk about a lot because I think it's inherent in our players. But, we're going to be successful if we're unselfish. We're going to be successful if we can bond together and talk on the defensive end of the court. We want to play at a certain pace. So that's part of the reset. Part of it is, if there are issues that occur, and every team has them that come up, whether they're, a disagreement on the court or an injury or whatever it is, that we solve it right then and there with each other. We don't let things fester. that we can attack problems in a creative way. And that's what reset means. It means you go about your business like pros, that you don't have drama, that you come and work and you play and you do those things and you have fun with it. You enjoy your teammates, and enjoy the journey that a season is. I mean, this is going to go fast, a condensed season that, people really buy into, the fact that we've always talked about every day we walk in the gym, be a little bit better than when you walk out than you were when you walked in. And so that'll be part of the message that, we have to do that if we're going to be good enough. You're not going to be your best at the start. It's just not going to happen. But let's make sure that every day we're getting a little bit better.
What'd you learn from the last two seasons?
Stay healthy. I mean, it's a simple thing to say, but no team is going to win a championship if your best players aren't playing. It's not great coaching. It's not anything else. You need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of fortune, but part of your luck is to stay healthy. And other than, the brief injuries that we had in 2019 with Elena in the middle of the season and Christy right before the end, as a general rule, we stayed healthy. And Elena gave up a lot with her body to get us through the playoffs. But, we had our best players out there when it counted. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're not going to overtax some of them early. We want to make sure that we're still standing upright when we're supposed to be as the season goes along.
Does it feel like things are kind of returning to a little bit normal for the organization, the franchise? Because right when you won the championship, it's just one down after another.
Yeah.
No settling points for the team.
No, I mean, we never got to celebrate the championship the right way. The pandemic hit in the middle of that off season. So, all your plans went out. The bubble came and some players opted out. Others were hurt. And we kind of persevered through that, but we had to fight a lot through things that summer in the bubble. And then last year, there were just things that were out of our control. I mean, players came here to play with Elena and Alicia, and they were never out there. And so you never get the rhythm, and you never get the good feel or vibe about your team that comes with, having your group together every day. You're always feeling like every day you're piecemealing. When as a player, if I went to practice and I saw, man, we're back to 3-on-3 again today because we have nobody else to practice. One of the things that's a norm in our league is having male practice players, and we weren't allowed to do that until after the Olympic break last year. And so you lose a lot, especially when you're undermanned as it is. And so when you only have 6 players, you don't want me out there playing against them. So, and so those are the things you face. Now it feels like we're kind of back into our rhythm. We've solved some of the things that are just issues. And so it feels good.
Kind of building off of that, just tonight, you said you went over and talked to the fans. So how was it over there for you seeing, fans back at the sports program?
Yeah. I mean, we sat out last year's draft, so that wasn't even an option. But I think that they're excited. It was kind of a good kickoff to our season, knowing that, come this coming weekend that we're getting back together as a team. We have a practice where a lot of our season ticket holders will be able to come watch us early in training camp, an exhibition in a couple of weeks. I mean, it's all, that long off season seems like forever until you get to about February, and then all of a sudden everything starts coming quickly. The end of the college season, the NCAA tournament, the draft. Now it's just one thing after the other. And because we're starting a week earlier, I kind of feel sorry for these college kids. They get drafted on Monday night, and on Friday or Thursday, they're coming to your team and like, let's go. And if you have exams as a college kid, you're worrying about how you're going to get your, senior year finished or grad exams or whatever it is. We've actually proctored exams in the past. So it's a lot. It's a lot on these players, but this has a good feel to it right now. Oh, go ahead. You got one more? Oh, anybody else? Thank you all. Appreciate it. We will see you all soon. Media day is right around the corner.